Nothing else. So friends, it's a great pleasure to me, and I thank SP and the entire RCBK for giving me the opportunity to learn. Because before presenting anything, I have to go through, I have to read, I have to study that, to learn something, and then whatever little I could learn to share with all you. So it's an advantage to me, two-way advantage to learning and then sharing my views. So friends, it was a wonderful budget. It was a wonderful budget. No deduction or changes has been made in income tax or GST say, but it was for the growth oriented. It was in such a way made that the vision of India could be seen. 40 lakhs crore worth of budget presentation. That was the total outlay. It is coming for India. And 25% more, 35% more in capital outlay in comparison to the last year itself. Last year it was 5,500 crore approximately, now it is 7,500 crores. Lakh crores. Lakh crores. So 35%, 35.4% more than last year, and if we see for last 2-3 years, compared to 18-19, it is double than that, capital outlay. So whenever we invest in capital infrastructure, that pays in long term. May not be readily available in this year itself, but then it is certainly for the growth oriented for the country. So whenever the money comes into capital infrastructure, that it gives employment generation, it gives impetus to the business development, it gives our standing in entire world. So this is the image making of the country. And we will remember that in 2019 budget, it was placed that 20 lakh crore will be spent in capital expenditure. 20 lakh crore will be spent in capital expenditure over the period of 5 years. So in that direction the country is going.
Sir, would you go to next?
Not much changes has been made in income tax. As we start with, we all are more interested in income tax, GST, and then other things as well. Not much changes has been made in income tax, but one major change is there. One welcome change is there, that there is one opportunity is given to update the income tax return. In long time back, we were able to file up to 3 years income tax return. Then it was reduced to 2 years. Now it is reduced to 9 months only. So March 22 ending return for assessment year 22-23, we can file. That is the July is the usual due date, and we can file late return up to 31st of December 22 only. We cannot file if we have missed something, but for whatever reason, we cannot file on 1st of January 23 the return for the March 22 year. So now this opportunity is given that for 1 year, one financial year or one assessment year ahead, we can file the return with 25% penalty. And for the second year, we can file the return with 50% penalty. So whatever income is there, even we have filed the return or we have not filed the return, it covers both type of scenario. So if we have filed the return, we can change it, we can make. But the changes will always be there to enhance the income. We cannot reduce the income. We cannot claim any losses. We cannot increase our refund, which we had earlier claimed if the return was filed. So whatever additional income tax, interest or penalty is there, everything you have to pay. But additional 25% will have to be paid for first 1 year, and then in second year, if we again delay the second year, then 50% penalty will have to be paid.
So what amount?
Of the total additional interest, additional tax, interest on that, and due penalty if any there. Because late filing is 5,000 still. So that is the late fee. So penalty will not be increased, but the late fee will be there. Interest, tax, interest, and late fee. So additional amount, whatever you are increasing, or if you have not filed, then again on the entire amount reduced by the advance tax or taxes you have paid earlier.
Something we call revised return, what do you think?
Yes.
Sometimes we say that we will file the revised return, some mistake is there, we will file the, what is the difference
No,
between these two?
revised return you can file only up to 9 months of the close of the year, up to December 31st. You cannot file beyond that.
That is without any.
That is without any penalty. That option is still there.
Okay.
This is an additional advantage, additional opportunity given to the SSC, that if you have missed or if you have made any mistake, you have not seen any income earlier, now you are aware of that income and you want to cover that income into your return. So in that case, you can change your return. So that is called updated return now. Revised return is already there. That is up to December 22, say, in this year.
9 months. So in other words, we can also say it's a continuous VDS.
VDS you cannot say because it's
Because this
with
again
penalty.
opportunity.
It is with penalty. Because you are paying tax as well as you are paying additional 25%
That's the penalty.
interest, everything is being paid. Tax, interest, late fee, everything you have to pay, then 25% additional and then 50% additional if you are
That
further
is
delay.
that's a penalty.
One thing, within 9 months, will it be better to go for the revised return?
It is always better to file your correct return, be it an original return, or if you have some way made a mistake, revise it as early as possible.
As early as possible is important.
Yeah, next. There is no change in slab rates, no change in income tax limits or tax rates or anything. Only thing, cooperative societies has been tax has been reduced, surcharge has been reduced from 18.5% to 15%. So that is of course, I think not very much connected with this group. Next, capital gain. That is very much important to all of us. Because what was happening, capital gain on equity-oriented, share capital and all these were 15%. Surcharge was 15% capped. But for other assets, it was up to 37% surcharge. So, like if you are selling an household property, residential property, so if the surcharge goes, if it is more than 5 crores, surcharge goes to 37%. So now surcharge for all capital assets it is capped up to 15% only. It will not exceed 15% in any case.
Like other mutual fund and.
Like other shares, mutual fund or anything. So any capital gain, surcharge will be, maximum surcharge will be 15%. Next. Business deductions. Cess and surcharge was actually never intended to be allowed. Whatever tax, cess, surcharge we are paying, but then somewhere some courts had taken different view. Some people, some SSCs were making litigation on that. So to avoid that litigation, it is clarified that the cess and surcharge will not be allowed as business deductions. Expenditure relating to exempt income. Very often we see that our income contains some income which is not taxable. Not taxable, earlier dividend was not taxable, like agriculture income is not taxable. So expenditure to earn that exempted income will also not be allowed.
That's right. Yeah.
It was earlier also, but then somewhere some confusion and some litigations were created. So to clarify that, it is made that no expenditure will be allowed to earn any exempted income. Expenditure related to prohibited offences or of personal nature. Prohibited offences means any penalty, any offences you have made somewhere, that is violation, fines, fee. So that is not your business. That cannot be your business expenses. And if it is a capital nature or personal nature, it will not be allowed as business expenditure. Here, one thing can be noted that in pharma companies, there is a practice of giving freebie samples to the doctors and hospitals and all. So those are, as of now, it was considered as business expenditure, but now this will not be considered as business expenditure.
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा.
That's only for pharmaceutical or?
It's an example.
No, all the fringe benefits are exempted.
Yes, all freebies samples given for it has no value.
दिवाली में चले गए
Unpaid interest to financial institutions. You see, till now, banks and financial institutions were covered, wherein if you do not pay the interest to the payment in actual, so it was not allowed as business expenditure. Now, those NBFC, scheduled cooperative banks, everything has been covered. And even somewhere, what was happening, that people used to make journal entries, interest payable, so it will not be allowed until you have actually made the payment.
बट फिर मर्केंटाइल बेसिस का क्या हुआ, ये एक्चुअल कैश बेसिस पे होगा?
No. Actual case, mercantile basis, your accounts, your balance sheet has to be prepared on mercantile basis.
करेक्ट, तो एंड में तो करेंगे
You have to record all your expenses, including interest.
Correct.
But for computation purpose, it will be added until and unless you make the payment. And in the year of payment,
नेक्स्ट
it will
ईयर
be
में
allowed.
ओह नॉट डन
If this year you have not made the payment,
Yeah,
next year you have paid for the 2 years, last year and current year. You will get the deduction for both the years.
On cash basis.
On
कैश
cash.
बेसिस ओके
So deduction in income tax is on cash basis, whereas you have to account for in your books of account, in your balance sheet on the mercantile basis only.
ओके
I think 1 minute. Last.
COVID.
COVID-19 medical treatment expenditure somewhere it was last year, it was by way of notification it was given. Now it has been ratified that if any medical assistance or medical expenditure is received from employer for COVID-19, so it is exempted without any limit. If it is received from some other person other than employer, then the limit is 10 lakhs. Beyond 10 lakhs it is taxable. And this in case of any death, if their kins have received from the employer within 12 months of the death, then it is exempted. If it is received after 12 months, it is taxable.
But this will be applicable for the amount received in this year, or?
No, even for last year, it is applicable from 1st
As of
April
1st April
2020.
2020.
Because it was already given by way of notification, so now it is covered in the budget.
Yes, sir. But the expenditure, if it is occurred, can we claim that? Expenditure on the COVID-19,
No, expenditure is not business expenses.
no, for the treatment, medical treatment for the COVID,
Ah.
can it be exempted? Can it be claimed?
No.
That medical expense we cannot claim. Only if we get the reimbursement can be.
Reimbursement can be taxable otherwise. So if it is covering these areas, then it is not taxable. If it is not covered here, because you are getting money from somebody else,
Yeah.
so it will be taxable.
See, there are companies who are giving that reimbursement for the COVID
Yeah.
treatment. So currently that is taxable. So now with this, now that is made non-taxable.
सर ऐसा कैसे होगा?
अच्छा, reduction in litigation.
No.
COVID, excuse me, reduction in litigation, what was happening presently, that if I have a case, similar case for 4 years, for some disallowance or some non-taking of, non-receipt of income or something. So department, I have gone into appeal, I have won the appeal, now department goes to the second appeal, ITAT or High Court. So if 4 years, same cases are there, similar case. So all four separate appeals are being filed in ITAT and in High Court. So it is a similar, just duplicacy. So what has been decided, that if SSC agrees, the option is given to us, if SSC agrees, department will not file the second, third, fourth appeal, only first appeal is suffice. Or if a similar case of some other SSC is also there, in that case also it will not be filed. So provided the SSC agrees to that, and if the decision of the ITAT or High Court goes against the SSC, then the department will file within 60 days the second appeal. So like you have got a disallowance on, say, any expenses, say car expenses, whatever expenses, for 4 particular years, similar cases. So four appeals were used to be filed. So it was a multiplicity of appeals. So what has been decided, that only one appeal will be filed, and the subsequent appeals will not be filed, and it will be wait that if first appeal, whatever has been filed, if it goes against the SSC, then department will file the second, third, fourth years also. Otherwise, it is all decided. But it will happen only in the case of similar matters. For new manufacturing companies, 15% plus surcharge and education sales tax has been made applicable. But the company was required to be start manufacturing before 31st March 23. It was as per the original schedule. So it has been extended by 1 more year, so that if you start a new company and make it to manufacturing till March 24 even, that will be covered under this section 115 BAB, wherein only 15% plus surcharge plus education, since it comes around 17%. So 17% tax rate will be applicable for those companies. And this is for startups. So startup registration, because for startups a special concession has been given that in initial first 10 years, 3 years they can claim 100% deduction. Any 3 years, but consecutively. They on their own choice. Once you start, then it will be continuously 3 years. So out of the first 10 years. So it was the period was ending this 31st of March 22. It has been extended 1 more year up to 23. So it's actually India is looking for startups only. It's a startup period.
स्टार्टअप का डेफिनेशन है, मतलब इट शुड बी ट्रेडिंग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सर्विस या कोई भी कंपनी अगर स्टार्ट होती है?
नहीं, स्टार्टअप में देयर आर कंडीशंस, उसके कंडीशंस हैं एंड यू हैव टू गेट रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर द स्टार्टअप का अलग से सेपरेट रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है।
स्टार्टअप इंडिया
तो सिर्फ ट्रेडिंग पे नहीं होगा, यू हैव टू हैव समथिंग इनोवेटिव आइडिया, समथिंग न्यू जो कि नहीं हो रहा है, तब आपको वहाँ पर स्टार्टअप में रजिस्ट्रेशन मिलेगा और स्टार्ट इनकम टैक्स में भी लेना, इनकम टैक्स में रजिस्ट्रेशन मिलेगा तो 3 years 100% टैक्स बेनिफिट यू आर गेटिंग।
सर एक्चुअली क्या है ना, स्टार्टअप इंडिया में रजिस्ट्रेशन जो कंपनी 2016 के बाद से जो इनकॉर्पोरेट हुई है
जी,
उनको सबको स्टार्टअप रजिस्ट्रेशन मिलेगा। अगर वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है या जो भी कंपनी है, रजिस्ट्रेशन हो जाता है, लेकिन जो टैक्स बेनिफिट है वो इनोवेटिव को मिलेगा।
हाँ, टैक्स बेनिफिट के लिए, लेकिन टैक्स बेनिफिट की बात होगी। हाँ,
थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन नहीं होगी, रजिस्ट्रेशन तो सबका होता है जो 2016 के बाद।
डिसीजन कैसे होता है कि ये इनोवेटिव है, ये नॉन इनोवेटिव?
नहीं, उसका
सब्जेक्ट टू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ओनली है।
नहीं, इट इज नॉट सब्जेक्ट टू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। इवन सर्विस इंडस्ट्री इज वेरी वेल कवर्ड। सर्विस इंडस्ट्री तो ज्यादा उसमें कवर होगी। तो
और इट डिपेंड्स और एम्प्लॉयमेंट ओरिएंटेड और
देयर आर वेरियस फैक्टर्स, वेरियस कंडीशंस आर देयर।
इनोवेटिव का क्या आइडिया है?
से डीआईटीपी जो है
समथिंग न्यू कुछ निकालो, इनोवेटिव।
मुझे लगता है कि
न्यू हो सकता है, दूसरे के लिए न्यू ना हो।
उस पे नहीं जाना चाहिए,
If we get the budget aspect,
बजट पे चाहिए।
अगर प्रेसिडेंट चाहे तो हम लोग स्टार्टअप के लिए एक पूरा सेशन कर सकते हैं।
थैंक यू
because that's something new.
अच्छा, virtual assets, cryptocurrency. You know, everybody is now talking about cryptocurrency for last 1 year, 2 years जो भी है। तो it is an illegal asset and should not trade and everything that remains as it is, even valid today also. That India government is not recognizing cryptocurrency or any virtual digital currency. लेकिन हम इनकम को नहीं कंसीडर, माने उसको लीगल नहीं कर रहे हैं। But then even if you have earned by way of illegal way or by whatever way, tax is there. सर, आपने इनकम किया है, लीगल इलीगल देखने का डिपार्टमेंट अलग है।
हेलो जी,
वो अलग लोग देखेंगे कि
मीटिंग में हूँ, आपको कॉल करता हूँ।
काम है, लेकिन टैक्स इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट बोलता है आपने अर्निंग की है, मुझे टैक्स चाहिए। सो दैट हैज बीन वेरी क्लियरली सेड दैट कोई एक्सपेंसेस नहीं मिलेगा, कोई अलाउंस डिडक्शन कुछ भी नहीं मिलेगा एक्सेप्ट द कॉस्ट ऑफ परचेज एंड व्हाटएवर इनकम इज देयर 30% टैक्स विल बी एप्लीकेबल ऑन दैट। लेकिन लीगल इलीगल की कंडीशन अपनी जगह है। आरबीआई विल कम आउट विद डिजिटल करेंसी, वो लीगल रहेंगे, उसमें ट्रेडिंग ट्रांजैक्शन सारे लीगल रहेंगे। तो अगर लीगल वे में अगर डिजिटल करेंसी में या इंडियन क्रिप्टो में काम करना है तो that will be named as Lakshmi. So that is coming very soon, maybe within 3, 4, 6 years, 6 months time.
तो इंडियन लक्ष्मी को
हाँ, तो लक्ष्मी है ना भाई, लक्ष्मी तो लक्ष्मी होती है। नहीं, इसी साल हो जाएगा ना।
अभी आज की डेट में प्रॉफिट या क्रिप्टो पे तो क्या कर देगा?
भाई आज के डेट में टैक्स नहीं है उसके ऊपर में, बाकी सारे प्रोविजंस एप्लीकेबल।
मतलब आज टैक्स भी है?
अभी मार्च से जाओ, अप्रैल से चालू है।
कमाल हो इतना
मतलब बेचते हैं 31 मार्च से पहले सब ये बेचते हैं।
चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट, जो कि हमारी अपनी संस्था भी चैरिटेबल है, आरसीबी के भी चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट है। सो वी हैव, बट आई मीन देयर इज any charitable organization used to collect fund for construction of buildings, premises, some projects and all. So those where they could have been treated as corpus fund. Now that facility has been increased to even for the repairs also. For repairs also, if you are taking some fund, so you can collect it as corpus fund. So that privilege or facilities has been extended. But there are certain conditions, certain restrictions in the other slide, other provisions, that 11.2 is the fund we are taking for say this year, but then we are not able to spend that money in this year itself. We get the time of 5 years. So for any project, see, project cannot be completed in 1 year. So, and even money cannot be collected in 1 year's time. So we have started the project, we have taken certain fund for that, but then that will be utilized over the period of maximum period of 5 years. We cannot go beyond 5 years. So what was there, it cannot be given to other trust. Earlier it was allowed to be given to other trust. We could not spend. So we have given just donation to other trust. So now that is restricted. You have collected for that particular project, you have to spend for that project only. And if you do not spend, it will be taxable in 5 years' time, in the 5th year. Earlier it was taxable in 6th year. So that is also that in 5th year itself it will be taxable in the last year, if you do not spend the money. And fund cannot be utilized if the any charitable organization has taken the fund for the objects of the trust. It cannot be used for any other purposes. Only actual payments are allowed. Provisions simply we will make the payment next year, just JV Mardo. So that is not allowed. Cancellation of registration. Now this has been made very strict, stringent measures have been put for cancellation of registration, charitable organization registration. Funds has to be strictly utilized for the object. Other than trust, it is not allowed. Trust has applied its fund for, if trust has applied for religious purposes, any charitable organization is there, charitable ATG has taken. ATG means you have to make it spending for the public benefit projects only. You cannot make it for religious purposes. If it is made spent for religious purposes, cancellation of registration will happen. If it is made for any particular community or caste, then also it is not allowed. Or if any time during the assessment procedure or somewhere it is found that you are doing some religious activities, registration will get cancelled. Registration cancel has a very cascading effect. So what happens in business, if you got the 1 crore rupee income and you have spent 90 lakhs rupees for your purchase and other expenses, you have got the earning of only 10 lakhs. So only 10 lakhs are subject to tax. Here in this in charitable trust case, 1 crore is the voluntary donation and you have spent 90 lakhs for the object of the trust. But if registration is cancelled, entire 1 crore will be taxable. You will not get allowance of any expenses. And well, the last line is very important, that trust has complied with the provisions of 12AB. 12AB is that you have to prepare your balance sheet in time, you have to file your return, you have to upload your audit report in time. If you delay, registration is gone. So that is specifically for Rathiji. Take care.
It is for the project directors also who are collecting the money.
No.
Give all the information.
It is only for Rathiji.
Faceless assessment scheme, some changes has been made because whatever year before last had started the faceless assessment scheme, but that scheme was not taking up properly. So now it has been redesigned, the faceless assessment scheme, wherein now under the new provisions, faceless assessment center, National Faceless Assessment Center, NAFA, will assign the case to one assessment unit. That assessment unit can be anywhere in the country. Not necessary that we are Bombay, so our case will be held by the Bombay team. No, it can be Guwahati or Madras or somewhere, anywhere. So it will be assigned to National Assessment Unit, particular assessment unit, and the case will be selected. Notice will be sent by National Faceless Center, not by assessing unit. Assessing unit is different, National Faceless Assessment Center is different, and assessing officer is different, and SSC is different. So there are four layers in there. So-cause notice before making any addition or any assessment, if assessing officer or assessment unit is of the opinion that assessment will be done not in accordance with the written file by you, but certain additions or disallowance will be made. So the notice will be sent, so-cause notice will be sent to you through Faceless Center, National Faceless Center, because we cannot know what is assessment unit, who are the person dealing with that. We have no connection, no communication with them. Communication will always be with the National Faceless Assessment Center. So notice will be sent from them, via them. We will reply. Reply will go to assessment unit. Assessment unit will have a draft assessment order. That draft assessment order again will be sent to us as to SSC. If we disagree, we have to reply. That reply, whether they accept or not accept, it is up to them. And then the final order will be there.
It's mostly belongs to business assessments.
No, it is all type of assessment. Even for the individuals also.
All individual companies everywhere.
Everywhere.
मतलब किसी को ये नहीं मालूम कौन कर रहा है और किसका कर रहा है.
Yes, yes.
So here now what is the?
But then one advantage has been given in this budget, that whenever we want that the physical hearing is required, personal hearing, physical नहीं बोलेंगे, if personal hearing is required, then it will be, earlier it was at the mercy of the officer whether it will be allowed or not allowed. Now it is, they have to compulsorily give that personal hearing, but by way of video conferencing. It will not be personal sitting table to table, but it will be by way of video conferencing, and that will be recorded.
Correct.
Personal hearing, no. It will be assigned. One officer, assessing unit, one officer will be assigned for that. No.
So practically this assessing officer has no role.
No, assessing officer has role after the assessment order is due.
Okay, for execution.
For execution, for implementation of that order, for making collections, for
Demands and all.
the demands raising and all. Or anything you have some mistake has happened in calculation or those, then the local assessing officer will be coming into picture.
This is for all cases or selectively they will know?
All cases.
All
Whatever
cases.
selection will be done by them only, it is applicable to everybody.
Sure.
What about the scrutiny part?
The scrutiny, it is scrutiny
It
only.
is scrutiny only, no?
The scrutiny only.
Yes.
It is scrutiny only.
The scrutiny will be by way of email or by way of online transactions.
Earlier they were saying that scrutiny will be limited to 2% or 3%.
That is still there. So that is the selection criteria and method. But if your case is selected, that is within 2%.
Like how they were saying that earlier it will be now only for last 3 years books will be opened or 3 years credit will be there.
No,
But now
that
I think
is-
it has gone up.
No, that is there. That is there.
Come back to 6 years and 10 years.
That is there. Only 3 years books will be opened. Only 3 years books will be opened. But if department, if the commissioner or chief commissioner, not below that rank, if commissioner or chief commissioner is of the opinion, they are convinced that there is an income leakage of more than 50 lakhs, it can be opened for last 10 years.
Last 10 years.
Yes. But then this is not a new provision. This was made earlier.
You have to maintain all the books for 10 years.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to
7
keep
years, huh?
10 years.
Not only
You
books,
have-
all records.
All records you have to keep for 10 years. You do not know when it will be opened. Because 50 lakhs is very small amount for them. maybe you, in your case it is hardly 5 lakhs, but then they will make it escalate it to 50 lakhs and open it.
10 साल तक अपने को कितना
जी 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 10 साल तक आप रोटरी में आते रहिए, ज्ञान मिलते रहेगा और आपने
ये सही है।
Subhash, this was your best statement so far.
उसके बाद तो आप जा ही नहीं सकोगे। 10 साल तो रोटरी में आ गया हो तो कहीं जा ही नहीं सकते। लाइक मी ही विल ऑलवेज बी हियर। सो टीडीएस है कि जो व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग दैट वेरी ऑफन वी यूज्ड टू डू कैश पेमेंट के कैश ट्रांजैक्शंस के अलावा there are some by way of some other perquisites or some other benefits which are non-monetary. So now those have also been covered, non-monetary items as well. अभी non-monetary items के ऊपर में भी TDS का collection होगा. 10% TDS will be applicable in case of business. I mean, जहाँ where in the professional or business transactions are there, which is जो 94J में जिस पे TDS कटता था. So that will include the other benefits, other business benefits or perquisites, whatever way, whatever name it is given. So those will also be covered. And even in case of salary also, if other than salary, because very often we see that directors are given free home, free cars, of some other facilities are given, so various things are given. So whatever perquisites are given to the employees, TDS has to be deducted on that also. Earlier it was not there, now it is covered. And in case of
कॉस्ट 110% हो जाएगा। कॉस्ट 110% हो जाएगी।
but then that company is giving that,
हाँ, definitely।
वैल्यूएशन एक्चुअल लेंगे उसकी कॉस्ट।
actual valuation.
तो TDS काटेंगे
इनकम
किससे?
टैक्स एक्ट
वो 110%
TDS
हो
काटेंगे,
जाएगा।
आप सैलरी में से TDS काटो उतना ज्यादा।
हाँ।
और जो सामने वाले पहले केस में ऐसा भी होता है कि जहाँ पर there is no monetary consideration is taken because you have provided, you have given something, some provided some
Facility.
services in return he has done some other way. So then you have to make sure that the TDS is deposited first before making the services happen.
अपने जगह कंपनी कार है फॉर एग्जांपल,
वो टैक्सेबल होता है ना सर इनकम टैक्स।
Company car you have to add as salary of the employee.
It's a part of cost to the company।
बहुत जबरदस्त हो गया, कोई चीज छोड़ी नहीं है, सब टैक्सेबल हो गया।
CTC में आता है।
In case of sale of property, we used to deduct TDS at 1% of
Correct.
the sale consideration. Till now, this is there. But then sometime what happens, your agreement value is 1 crore and stamp duty value of 1 crore 10 lakhs. What we deduct TDS on 1 crore only because the transaction is 1 crore. Now TDS will be on the higher of the either sale consideration, the agreement value, या stamp duty value, whichever is high.
स्टैम्प ड्यूटी 1 करोड़ 10 लाख
होता है
और प्रॉपर्टी 1 करोड़ की।
होता है।
अच्छा,
बहुत होता है
बहुत होता है,
बहुत होता है सर ऐसा।
हाँ होता है।
अच्छा,
हाँ।
ऐसा ही होता है।
नहीं मतलब 5, 6, 7, 8% ही होती है ना? नहीं,
नहीं ये वो
50%
चीज़
भी
नहीं
होता है,
हाँ
50% भी होता है।
ये वो
सर प्रॉपर्टी स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू इज 1 crore 50 lakh and registration is 1 crore, ऐसा भी होता है।
अच्छा,
So stamp duty value or the sale the agreement value whichever is high.
सर्किल रेट जो बोलते हैं वही है, सर्किल रेट वाला जो चक्कर है।
TDS next.
आगे बढ़ो।
You keep waiting, we keep asking questions. So let the stretch session go as long.
Sir,
We go after lunch.
for
Yeah.
digital transactions, for digital currency transactions, digital currency या crypto, TDS is applicable. Tax तो था ही, जो whoever is buying, he will make the payment to the seller, he will deduct the TDS at 1%. Only thing when he will not collect, if he is a businessman not having turnover less than 1 crore and transaction value is less than 50,000, then he will not deduct, it is exempted. For others who is not into business and the transaction value is less than 10,000, then TDS is not applicable, otherwise TDS is applicable.
Suppose like that, if we don't have a registration and everything, having a person will say, right?
Sorry?
Suppose in business also or anything, whichever, whoever runs For deducting the TDS, you should have the interest and pay to the credit and everything. Is it anything beyond 1 crore is mandatory?
No, it is mandatory. You have to deduct TDS and deposit also. For this, 10 number is not mandatory. Without 10 number, you can.
10 number is not mandatory.
10 number is not mandatory. Like in case of property, wherein without 10 number you make the payment.
जैसे आज when we do crypto हम लोग ऑनलाइन एप्स के थ्रू करते हैं, वजीरेक्स हो गया, कॉन्सियस हो गया, तो अगर 50,000 से ऊपर का ट्रांजैक्शन है तो वो लोग खुद टीडीएस काट के हमें रिफंड करेंगे।
नहीं, टीडीएस तो आपको काटना पड़ेगा ना, जो पेमेंट करे।
तो अगर मैं वजीरेक्स में डाल रहा हूँ तो मुझे उसका टीडीएस
करना है, पेमेंट होना चाहिए टीडीएस का। जो अच्छा, ये कंसेशनल रेट तो छोड़ो, फॉरेन करेंसी वाला तो नॉट। दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट वेयरइन you don't file your return, where very often it is seen that people are not filing their income tax return. So अभी तक क्या provision था till this year? If you have not filed for last two returns, 2 years returns, then the higher rate of TDS was applicable, 20% and 5%. So higher rate of TDS was applicable. Now that is reduced to 1 year. कि आपने last एक return भी नहीं file किया है, still you are liable for higher rate of TDS, 20% of TDS. You don't have to wait for 2 years.
If somebody has not filed a return because it is not taxable, and TDS has been cut, so he has to.
Yes, TDS will be on the higher rate.
No, but he has to fill up the return.
Yes.
If the taxable income.
नहीं,
For the senior citizen also.
वो अलग चीज है। नहीं, अगर टीडीएस आपका कट रहा है कहीं पर और टीडीएस कट रहा है और आपने रिटर्न नहीं फाइल किया है, तो हायर रेट ऑफ टीडीएस दैट इज 20% एप्लीकेबल होगा। आपके पास जो फॉर्म देने का प्रोविजन है वो चालू है, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। आप फॉर्म देकर के नील रेट ऑफ टीडीएस विदाउट नो डिडक्शन ऑफ टीडीएस कर सकते हैं।
जरूरी है लेकिन
वो तो आपको अगर टीडीएस नहीं कर पा रहा
तो आपको एफडी के लिए जो देते हैं वो तो देना पड़ेगा।
वो तो डिपार्टमेंट पहुंच जाएगा आप तक, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। भाई डिडक्शन किया तो आपको डिपॉजिट करना ही पड़ेगा। नहीं, you will not get it. The other person will not get deduction until it is deposited and return is filed.
Even he has to make a payment to us. X amount is a payment. उसने माइनस टीडीएस का कर लिया कि मैं इतना जमा कर दूंगा, अपनी क्वार्टरली में करूंगा, मेरा पेमेंट कर दिया, लेकिन अगर क्वार्टरली में उसने नहीं सबमिट किया, then what?
नहीं, आपको क्रेडिट नहीं, देखिए क्या है प्रॉब्लम, he has made a default, but then you are also in problem because you will not get credit of that amount. आपको और कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, टैक्स का क्रेडिट, टीडीएस का क्रेडिट आपको मिलना चाहिए, वो नहीं मिलेगा जब तक सब
प्रोविजन है। उसका क्या मतलब रास्ता है? ऐसा होते हैं
ऐसा होते हैं केस, ऐसे होते हैं। उसका आप यही है डिपार्टमेंट में आप राइटिंग में दे सकते हो कि भाई दिस पर्सन हैज डिडक्टेड माय टीडीएस एंड ही हैज नॉट डिपॉजिटेड, ही इज इन डिफॉल्ट, सो डिपार्टमेंट विल टेक एक्शन ऑन हिम, बट till the time it is deposited you will not get credit.
Suppose if we get that credit in a subsequent financial year, this year I got the income.
It is on year to year.
चलो बाकी के लिए केडिया जी के बीएन केडिया
कुछ फ्री में नहीं मिलता है। It is for dividend stripping. Sir. और डिविडेंड स्ट्रिपिंग व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग कि भी आज हम परचेज करते हैं विद इन 3 months इन केस ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर्स एंड 9 months इन केस ऑफ यूनिट्स, दैट इज द टाइम गिवन कि अभी हमने परचेज किया, वी आर सीइंग दैट कोई बोनस आ रहा है या कोई डिविडेंड आने वाला है कंपनी का, तो आज हमने परचेज कर लिया और 2 दिन के बाद में जब डिविडेंड आ गया तो उसके बाद में बेच दिया। अर्ली डिविडेंड वाज टैक्स फ्री, तो इसलिए डिविडेंड का इंटरेस्ट रहता था, अब बोनस का भी रहता है कि भी बोनस आ गया तो बोनस विल बी टैक्स माने इन हैंड आ जाएगा। तो अगर ऐसा कुछ है कि 3 महीने पहले परचेज किया और 3 महीने बाद में सेल कर दिया फॉर डिविडेंड या बोनस पे, तो दैट इज कवर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 94 फॉर डिविडेंड स्ट्रिपिंग। तो उसमें उसको दैट अमाउंट बिकम्स टैक्सेबल इन दैट केस। तो अभी उसमें क्या किया कि दिस थिंग्स वे आर नॉट कवर्ड, यूनिट्स ऑफ बिजनेस ट्रस्ट और AIF फंड, alternative investment fund, these were not covered into that provision, now it is covered, it is also covered. this the first point may be applicable to or maybe of interest to some of the members, that it was for film production till now it was there that in case of film production units or companies, whatever payments they are making to artist or some other whatever person who's there, तो अगर 50,000 से ऊपर अगर साल में अगर आप पेमेंट कर रहे हो उनको, तो you have to file return for that. That's like annual information statement के टाइप में. तो वो रिटर्न फाइल करना पड़ता था कि किसको आपने कितना पेमेंट किया. Now that is covered widely, more widely that is applicable in case of event management. Film production is already there, documentary productions, OTT, even sports organization, performing art, ये सारी टाइप की चीजें भी उसमें कवर हो गई है. If you are engaged into that activity, you have to make sure that you have a list of all persons wherein you have made payment in exceeding 50,000 in a year, and once the year is over by 31st of March, you have to file that statement to the income tax department. So department comes to know किसको कितना income मिला. TDS काटा या नहीं काटा से मतलब नहीं है. और even in case of charitable trust also, this is not a new provision, but just I wanted to highlight to people कि जो हमें donation मिल रहा है during the year, even it is applicable to RCB trust as well. Whatever donation we are getting in a year, we have to upload the statement by April or May, 60 days time है after the end of the year. So नाम पूरे full details, name, PAN number, कितना amount किसको मिला, everything, all details of the full entire year, all donations details will be submitted to the income tax. Whatever amount, चाहे 1 रुपया भी हो, कितना भी हो.
अच्छा, not with the income tax return. This is separate statement.
This is separate. This is just informatory.
Informatory नहीं, सबको पकड़ लेंगे, सबको पकड़ लेंगे.
Everything is online. No physical. कोई सर्च वगैरह केसेस में सेट ऑफ लॉसेस या कुछ साइकोलॉजिकल डिडक्शंस वगैरह कुछ नहीं मिलेगा इन केस ऑफ लॉसेस केसेस. एंड सेक्शन 68 दैट इज ए कैश क्रेडिट. क्या होता है, कंपनीज टेक शेयर कैपिटल, लोन्स, एडवांसेस तो अननोन पीपल से, किसी से भी आ गया, या आई नो दैट आई हैव टेकन लोन फ्रॉम यू से, सो व्हेनेवर माय असेसमेंट कम्स I will say that I have taken the loan from Mr. X. Who is this? Uski identity and everything I will display. So I used to say that my part is over. Now it is covered. That is my source. Where from I have taken this? Maybe it is share capital loan or other received deposits or whatever thing. So now that source of source is also to be given. Manager से लिया. I have taken from X. From where from X has got the money. That is also my responsibility to show.
अरे बाप रे.
पैसा लेने से पहले आदमी सोचेगा किससे पैसे ले.
नहीं बताएगा तो नहीं ले सकते. This is not applicable only in case of banks or.
बहुत डीप इम्प्लीकेशन है इसकी.
उनके केस में वो एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. वो कहाँ से आया?
मैंने भी कुमार साहब से लोन लिया. अब कुमार साहब बोले तुम्हारे तो तुमको पैसा मिल गया ना, बात खत्म करो.
नहीं कैसे खत्म हो जाएगी.
ये नहीं
सर 2% में आ जाएंगे, 2% में आ जाएंगे.
आपको ये आपको ये इंश्योर करना पड़ेगा कि कुमार साहब ने क्या एसबी से लिया. If you are sure कि SB is also genuine person and he has taken from SB and giving to you.
Sir, वो Jacqueline Fernandez वाला केस.
You have to prove for SB also from various states.
Yes.
Sir, Jacqueline Fernandez.
Third source of
1600 रुपया दिया है मेरे को भी.
ऐश्वर्या राय का भी सेम.
मुझे मेरे इसका 1600 रुपया दिया है तुमने मेरे को.
नहीं, इसमें कोई अरे उसकी कोई थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट नहीं है क्या केडिया जी? थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट नहीं है कि किससे ज्यादा ले, कुछ भी ले आओ.
Let's stop Q&As please. Let me finish first.
No threshold limit for that. GST very less changes, very impactful changes are there on GST. GST we abhi till now we used to take credit of ITC till 31st of September का return which goes up to 13th of October next year. जो इस साल का ITC अगर if you have missed some way, so we can claim that ITC till return of next September's return. So that goes into 13th of October is the last date. Now that is extended till 30th of November. For claiming ITC, for making any revision, otherwise it is not possible. But then by way of return GSTR 1 और 3B में आप रिवाइज कर सकते हो, उस हिसाब से रिवीजन या रेक्टिफिकेशन का आप 30th November तक कर सकते हैं. क्रेडिट नोट you can issue up to 30th of November. The time of 2 months say is extended. Only sequential filing. अभी भी ऐसा ही है. You cannot file if you have not filed for January. You cannot file for February. You cannot file for February. But then it has been made in the provision in the statute book itself that sequential filing is only allowed. Otherwise, if you have missed one return, you cannot file the second return.
GST में तो बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट मामला हो गया.
अच्छा, now one welcome change is there that electronic cash ledger में if you have multiple branches, multiple offices, multiple registrations of in GST is there, and at one branch or one office you have surplus cash ledger balance, and in other place you require the fund, it can be used other place also. So उसके लिए एक form file करके you can claim that in other one earlier it was not allowed.
Credit can be used anywhere.
No, it is not. It is cash ledger. It is not credit. Credit cannot be used. Cash, it is so far it is allowed. It is cash ledger. So you have deposited cash at one particular branch, wherein you need the fund in different branch. So that can be transferred to different branch of the same SSC. SSC has to be same. And ITC earlier 2A, 2B was there. So अभी वो communication system they will develop that is not very clearly mentioned, but then the communication system will be established. And cancellation of registration has made very clearly that in case of regular filing, if 6 months, 6 returns have not been uploaded, 6 returns. So it will be cancellation. So these are very general things for the growth, which I told in the initially that PM Gati Shakti, wherein the focus has been made on roads, railways, airports, mass transport, waterways, logistic transport. You see, the 25,000 kilometers roads, highways will be constructed in this year itself, in 22-23. So the type of money is going to come into India, tremendous, and that will boost the growth. That will, move the things ahead. National roadway development, 60 kilometers of 8 road projects will be allowed there. One station, one project, one product, and 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains. It will of course take 3 years time to come, but then certainly it will be started, and the train movement will be taking to world class level. Udyam, this is important that Udyam, ESRAM, NCS, SE, all these portals will be linked together. And we will be benefited by that. Skilling के ऊपर में बहुत ज़्यादा focus किया गया है कि how the skill development can be taken. And we at Rotary Club also, if we can take any project of skill development anywhere in our adopted village or somewhere, so it will certainly help the country to grow. Emergency credit line guarantee scheme that was given during the COVID period. So that is further extended by 1 more year, and 2 lakhs outlay has been further demarcated for that. And out of that, 50,000 has been made for exclusively for hospitality, because hospitality industry is into very bad shape. So 50,000 crores has been earmarked for hospitality industry. Skill development is 1 class, 1 TV channel, drone Shakti, all these will be met. Inclusive development. E-passport, that will help all of us to travel overseas That will be rolling out in 4-6 months or something. Land record management, entire country, everywhere the mapping will be done of the land records, and like Aadhaar card, every land parcel will have their own identity, which will be exclusive identity across the country. It will not be state-wise or district-wise. If accelerated corporate exit, this may be important to some of us, because what is happening, if you have opened a company and you do not want to continue that company, so for closure of the company you have to wait till 2 years.
Oh.
So if 2 years you don't have any business and you don't have any assets and liability, then only you can close the company. Now that has been accelerated, and now 6 months instead of 2 years, you have to wait only 6 months. So that's a welcome step.
Even for LLPs also.
LLPs are governed differently. LLP में ज़्यादा problem नहीं है, company में ज़्यादा है.
LLP मतलब private limited
Limited liability.
Green bonds will be issued very shortly. Green bonds will come, which the fund will be used for greenfield projects and of highways, railways or some. So that will be very much, eco-friendly हो जाएगा.
Will be open for public?
This will be open for public. Yes, everybody will be able to invite it to invest.
Hope they come out with tax report.
And gift city, like in Gujarat, gift city is there. That type of other gift cities also may be opened. And foreign universities will be allowed. They will be welcome. Foreign university will have their offices set up in the gift city, and you can have courses enrolled with them, and you will get the foreign degrees.
गिफ्ट सिटी क्या हुआ केडिया जी?
वो फाइनेंशियल्स के लिए मतलब इज अ स्पेसिफिक सेटअप व्हिच हैज बीन डन इन गांधीनगर.
अभी तो गुजरात में digital rupee will be launched by RBI, as we have discussed earlier.
Cryptocurrency by RBI.
Thank you. That's very little from my side.
That's wonderful, Subhash. Always a pleasure to hear you and your interpretation of the budget. And you know our Rotarians very well, so you focus on our needs. Thanks a lot. Friends, before I formally again thank him, we have sad news that our nightingale of the country has passed away this morning. And as a token of our respect to her, can we just stand for a minute? Sure.